Class we have seen the combinations of errors. So in that we have read the first part, that is error of a sum or a difference. So what will happen if we add two physical quantity measured values, and what will happen if we subtract the values of the physical quantities that we have measured. So we learned this section, then we left here, that is so error of a product or a quotient. So we left here. So let's start. So if you remember, in the last class I said A as a measured physical quantity with the error absolute error delta A, and B is also a measured physical quantity with the absolute error B delta B. So AB actually uses the value of the measured physical quantity. So what will happen if I multiply these two values? So Z plus or minus the absolute error will be equals to this value and this value. So A plus or minus delta A multiplied by B plus or minus delta B. So multiply these two. So what will you get? AB plus or minus B delta A plus or minus A delta B, and then plus or minus delta A multiplied by delta B. Here the part which you are seeing here is, this is just the multiplication of both the absolute errors. So this is more or less your error part. If there is a error, a 0.1 error in your first measured physical quantity, and if there is a 0.1 error in the second measured physical quantity, then the multiplication of these two values will give me 0.01. So which is less when compared to the AB. So we can neglect this part. So for time being, let's continue. So now you have to divide this equation, Z plus or minus delta Z. This equation, so LHS you divide by Z, and for RHS you divide by AB. So why do we divide here? So we need the relative error. So if I divide Z here, we can cancel both the Z, and I can get delta Z by Z. So that is the quantity which we need. So let's divide. Z plus or minus delta Z by Z is equals to AB plus or minus, write the same equation. So now I will divide this. AB will get cancelled. I'll write it as 1. So here BB will get cancelled. So what remains is delta A by A. So here AA will get cancelled. What remains is delta B by B. So here it is delta A by A and delta B by B. So Z by Z will give me 1, and 1 here and 1 here will get cancelled, LHS and RHS quantity. So since delta A and delta B are small, their product may be neglected. I've already said here, you can neglect this product, so you can neglect this whole term. So what remains is delta Z by Z, delta A by A, and delta B by B. So here it is a plus or minus sign. So if you need a maximum relative error, you have to consider the maximum relative error. So you take the summation or the addition of both the terms. So delta A by A plus delta B by B is equals to delta Z by Z. This is the error of a product. So here in your text it is also given the error of a quotient, but they have not derived any equation for this. So I want you people to go through some reference books and derive the equation for error of a quotient. So next, so here is a rule for error of quotient and the product. So we have not done the quotient part. I ask you to derive that equation, but let me read this statement. So when two quantities are multiplied or divided, the relative error in the result is the sum of the relative error in the multipliers. So now you might have got the idea. If you derive the equation for error for the quotient, then result will be the sum of relative errors. Try doing this. So there is another part in the combination of errors, that is errors in case of a measured quantity raised to a power. So you have a physical quantity and that has been raised to some power. So here A is a physical quantity. It has raised power to 2. And this is also a physical quantity. So, for example, if you want to measure the area of the square, what will you do? You take, if this is a square, then sides are equal, A. So, area will be equals to A into A, that is A square. So, area is A square. So, here this is also physical quantity, area is physical quantity, and A, side is also physical quantity. So, you measure two sides, or you measure one side of a square and you take a product of two sides, then you will get the area. So, what is the SI unit for area? It is meters square. See here, A, if you have measured A in terms of meter, and this will also be in terms of meter, so meter will give me a meter square. So don't bother about this. Here, just what you have to understand is, here there is a physical quantity and here there is one more physical quantity and it has been raised to some power. So that is what I have written here. Z is equals to A square. So not only 2, you can take many number of powers. So you can also take volume. Volume is what? A into A cube you get. So that's all. So Z, so I am writing the relative error. Delta Z by Z is equals to delta A by A plus delta A by A. This will give me 2 into delta A by A. That's it. So therefore the relative error in A square is 2 times the error in A. So in general, what will happen if you take Z is equals to A power P and B power Q divided by C power R, then you can write relative error as P into delta A by A plus Q into delta B by B plus R into delta C by C. So why have I added here? Here is A square, I have to multiply. If you remember, in the last section we have read errors of a product. If there is a product, what we will do? We will add the relative error. That is what I have written here. So A plus A. Clear? So the relative error in a physical quantity raised to the power k is k times the relative error in the individual quantity. If any quantity is raised to some power, so here A has been raised to the power P, then it is just the product here. P times delta A by A, Q times delta B by B, R times delta C by C. So our next topic is significant figures. So what are significant figures? Significant figures are the number of meaningful digits in a number is called the number of significant figures. That means if you have given some numbers, then the meaningful digits that a number contains will give you the significant figure. So every non-zero number can be called as significant. There are few rules for understanding and for determining the significant figures. I'll write them here. So let's see the first rule. The first rule says all the non-zero digits are significant. So what this means? All the non-zero digits are significant. So let us take an example. So if I have given a number like 4, 2, 3, 1. So how many significant figures are there? So there are 4 significant figures. How? See, these are non-zero digits, 4, 2, 3, 1. So next example is 1.4 like 9, 8, something like this. So how many digits are there? Non-zero, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again 4. So another example would be 2.8 So how many are there? There are 2 significant figures. So if there are like 5, 1, 6, 516, then how many digits are there? Significant digits? There are 3 significant digits. So I'm sure this is clear. All the non-zero digits are significant. Here you can see there are no zeros in the numbers which I have given. So you just count the number of non-zero digits and write the number. Done. The next rule says all the zeros between 2 non-zero digits are significant. Now you got to know what are non-zero digits. So the zeros between 2 non-zero digits are significant. No matter where the decimal point is, if at all there is a decimal point in the given number, then all the zero between 2 non-zero digits are significant. So let's see an example. So if we have given a number like 50301, so how many significant digits are there? There are 5. So here this is non-zero digit and this is also non-zero digit. And here there's a 0. So the 0 between 2 non-zero digits are counted as significant digit. So here is also the same case. Next example is, so if I give you 1001, so this is also a non-zero digit. This 1 is also non-zero digit. So there are 2 zeros in between this number, but these are significant. So the value will be 4. So what happens if there is a decimal point? Like if there is 21.05. So there is a decimal point here. This is 21.05. So these 3 are non-zero digits. The only digit here 0 is this. So this 0 is stuck between 2 non-zero digits. So now you have to count this. So the number of significant digits will be 4. Clear? So next rule is, the third rule here says is, if the number is less than 1, the zeros on the right of a decimal point but to the left of the first non-zero digit are not significant. So say for example, if have something like this, 713. So what he is saying is, the zeros on the right of the decimal point and the zeros of the left before the non-zero digits are not significant. The only digits which are significant digits here are 713. So number here should be 3. So number of significant digits in this given value is 3. So this value is obviously less than 1. So first rule is, you have to see whether the given number is less than 1 or not. So this 0.000713 is obviously less than 1. What will be the value? We should not count these 2 zeros. This again 0 is in between 2 non-zero digits. So here the number of significant digits are 3. So the next rule, what it says is, the terminal zeros in a number without a decimal point are not significant. Say for example 100. So here you don't have a decimal point and these terminal zeros are not counted. So here this 2 will not be counted. So number of significant figures is only 1. So if you take another example like 530 something. So how many digits? There are 2. Fifth rule is, The trailing zeros or 0 in a number with a decimal point are significant. So let's see the example. So here I have example 2.03100. So how many significants are there in this? Here he has given the trailing zeros in a number with a decimal point are significant. So these two are significant and this 0 is again a significant number. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 significant numbers. So another example is 1.0500. So how many are there? You have to count these two zeros as well. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 significant digits. So now next is, so let's see few examples. So let me write few. So the first one would be, so 881. So how many significant numbers? There are 3. So next is 5431. All non-zero digits are significant. So here there are 4. Next, let us put a decimal point now. So 400610. So how many digits are there? You have to count the terminal 0 when there is a decimal point, and you have to count the zeros when they are in between two non-zero digits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 digits. Another one would be 006103. So how many digits are there here? So we should not count the zeros that are right and left of the number. So here there are 1, 2, 3, 4 digits. Another example, 5030.0. So how many? There's a decimal point, so you have to count the 0. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So next one is 85321682220. So how many are there? So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 significant digits. So there is another one thing that you have to understand. If you are given a value something like this, so 215 into 10 power 12. So you should never take this while counting the significant digits. So you should only consider these 3. So there are 3 significant digits. So if I put decimal point 21.5 into 10 power 12, then again the value would be 3. Clear? So if I put 21.50 into 10 power 12, then the value would be 4. Clear? So I forgot to discuss one more thing before starting this topic, that is the certain and uncertain values. So if you have given the number like 18.3, so you are asked to perform an experiment, then the value will come around as 18.3. So here the digits 1, 8 are certain. That means they will not change. Like say for example, if you take 1.83, so here 1.1 and 8 would be the certain digits. So this will never change. So if you perform the same experiment 10 times, then the value may vary from 1.81, like 1.82, 1.83, 1.84, something like this, but the value here 1.8 remains constant. If you do the experiment very carefully, then the values will come like this. So this 1.8, these two digits are called certain digits, and the values which are varying here are known as uncertain digits. That means they can vary if you take the measurements again and again. There is one example that is given in your textbook, that is related to the power of 10. So what it says is the power of 10 is irrelevant to the determination of significant figures. So for example, the number here which he has given is 48700. So now we can write this number in many different ways. So for example, I'll put a decimal number. So here 48700. So now I can write this in terms of power of 10. So here 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.87 into 10 power 4. So I have written in the form of 10 power 4. So here I have written 4 because the decimal point has shifted till here. So I can also write this number as, I'll shift this decimal point here. So what that will happen, 48.7 into 10 power 4 as usual. Since you have shifted the decimal point here, there will be 10 power minus 1. So you can write 48.7 into 10 power 3. Like the same way, you can also write it as 487 into 10 power 2.00. Okay, so in all these three cases, so how many significant figures are there? So if you count, so how many significant figures are there in this? So there are 1, 2, 3. You are not supposed to count the zeros at the terminal unless there is a decimal point. So 487. So there are 3 significant figures. So coming to the next. So how many significant figures are there? So here there is a decimal point. 4 is non-zero, 8 is also non-zero, 7 is also non-zero. So you should not count this. 1, 2, 3. Again, there are 3 significant figures. So now coming to this. So the decimal point has just shifted from 4 to 8. So here 48.7 into 10 power 3 is the value. So how many are there? Again 1, 2, 3. Done. So here again the value is 1, 2, 3. That's how. So the power of 10 is irrelevant to the determination of the significant figures that you have. So that's all for this class. So in this class we have read the combination of errors. In that we have read error of a product, and I have left the error of a quotient. I want you to derive the equation for error of the quotient. Then we learned error in case of a measured quantity is raised to some power. So what will be the equation? It will just be some, like, if power is k, then the error will be k times the relative error. So then we came for the significant figures. In significant figures we read few rules, like there are 5 rules. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We understood all these rules. So the first rule says all the non-zero digits are significant. The second rule says all the zeros between 2 non-zero digits are significant, no matter what, no matter where the decimal point is, if at all. And the third statement is, if the number is less than 1, the zeros on the right of the decimal point but to the left of the first non-zero digits are not significant. The terminal or a trailing zeros in a number without a decimal point are not significant. And the fifth is, the trailing zeros in a number with a decimal point are significant. So these are the 5 rules. So these are very important. Be thorough with this concept, significant figures. Try solving as many examples as possible. Here I have given you few examples. Go through these examples, and I have also given this, the power of 10. Understand this concept also. Okay, that's all.